Hey, welcome to the channel, this tactical intellectual channel. This is part 3A of the video presentation series of the Near East and Southwest Asia. It's going to be in regards to original ancient Arabia. So everything is going to be historically astute. I'm going to provide proof. Many source materials will be used. I'll skim and I'll make logical connections that tie in the past to the present, hopefully. So that may come in 3B, but anyway, you already know it's a two-part series, 3A and 3B, but let's go ahead and get into it. For this video, we're gonna start off with a video clip.
I've seen when black people claim that the ancient Hebrews and Jews were black people and Jesus was not a white man. Many white people come across and say, okay, Jesus was not a white man, but he wasn't a black person either, because he was from the Middle East, and therefore, according to them, he must have looked like Arabs. But this is a fallacy. Just because the modern population of a region looks like X doesn't mean that the ancient inhabitants of that region looked also like X. For example, look at Australia. Are white Australians descended from the ancient Aborigines? Or are white Mexicans descended from the ancient Mayans? Of course not. The Middle East is the most melting pot region of the world. There are black, white, brown, Indian looking and Mongoloid looking people in this region, all of whom claim to be native and indigenous to this region. And for example, in Arabs, there are black, white, and mixed, the so-called brown Arabs, all of whom claim to be the real Arabs. But which of them is the real Arab? The black one, the white one, or the brown one?
That's a very nice segue into our first source, entitled The Arabs by Bertram Thomas. Right below the title, as you can see, it says the life story of a people who have left their deep impress on the world. So let's go ahead and go into the appendix section and view this. So we're on page 353. The title is Racial Origins of the Arabs. You see the underlined section. Who and whence are the Arabs? Let's go ahead and go to 354. So now we find ourselves on page 354. We're going to scroll down to the bottom portion, and the underlined sentence says this: what then is the racial makeup of the Arabs? Stop right there. Many cliffhanger. Those who know, they already know, but this is for those who really have no clue. So we're going to go into the source, the book called Sex and Race. You may be familiar with that. I've only read it countless times. But yeah, we're going to go into that book right there, and we're going to check out what J.A. Rogers have to say in regards to the origin or lineage of the Arabs. We find ourselves on chapter 3, the mixing of white and black in the ancient East. It says, the great areas of race mixing in the ancient world were both shores of the Mediterranean, Asia Minor, and Arabia. All the territory bordering on the Persian Gulf and the Indian Ocean. Stop right there. Here's a little bit of logic for the detractors. Okay, to have race mixing, that means you need element A and element B to create element C, right? So that just goes to say that there was a large presence of melanated people, original people, and this other element of people. They say white people, right? Okay. So let's back that up with another source. Let's go back to the book, The Arabs. Now, we did leave off on page 354 And the question was, what then is the racial makeup of the Arabs? So on page 355, we get our answer. And to start, it says, the answer may or may not be found in their cultural and geographical inheritance, their tongue, language, and their traditions. It is more surely inherent in their bodily inheritance, their anatomy, the shapes of their heads, the nature of their hair, their pigmentation, and the like. The original inhabitants of Arabia then, according to Sir Arthur Keith, one of the world's greatest living anthropologists, who has made a study of Arab skeletal remains, ancient and modern, were not the familiar Arabs of our own time, but a very much darker people. A proto-Negro belt of mankind stretched across the ancient world from Africa to Malaya. This belt, by environmental and other evolutionary processes, became in parts transformed, giving rise to the Hamitic peoples of Africa, to the Dravidian peoples of India, and to the intermediate dark peoples inhabiting the Arabian Peninsula. In the course of time, two big migrations of pale-skinned, fair-skinned peoples came from the north. One of them, the Mongoloids, to break through and transform the dark belt of man beyond India. The other, the Caucasoids, to drive a wedge between India and Africa. Okay, so we're gonna stop right there. We're gonna revisit this later in another video series, but I mean, let's go ahead and talk about it right here. Okay, so it's giving you the answer right there, and it's talking about a proto-Negro belt, and then it's talking about, because the skeletal remains matched up with I guess modern day melanated people, I mean, we can conclude and infer logically that, hey, the original people of that area were Negro melanated people, swarthy, dusky, whatever you want to call it. That was them. It's only necessary, let's go ahead and get some logical supporting information in the form of a book source, of course. So we're back in the book Environment, Race, and Migration by Griffith Taylor. We're going to check out chapter 16, the races of Southern Asia. Now, as you know, the topic is Arabia and the original Arabs. So check out section D, races of Southwest Asia. The highlighted portion reads, we find much the same order in the zones of folk in Arabia, Mesopotamia, Persia, and Turkestan. All around the borders of the Indian Ocean, there seems to be relics of a Negroid or Negrito stratum. Husing or Hussing suggests a race of Negritos as the most ancient population of the coasts between India and the Persian Gulf. He thinks that elements of a Dravidian population are found in the interior of Persia. Dulafoy found Negrito or Negro people near Susa in southwest Persia. While no Negroes survive in Syria, there are many skulls being found in the caves hereabouts, which may well indicate the presence of an early Negroid zone. Ujeri suggests that the Braqif Arabs of Yemen differ from the Arabs of Muscat owing to some of this Negrito blood, which is also shown by their lower stature and curly hair. When dealing with this subject matter here, you definitely have to look into biblical sources or sources from sister cultures of these Arabs and Hebrew or Hamitic people. You have to look at their sources too and put everything together. Now, when it comes to Arabs, you know that Abraham had Ishmael too. So Ishmael was or is known to be a progenitor of the Arab people. So we see that they're either called Ishmaelites, and then drop down to the second bullet point, Hagarites or Hagarenes. And that's named after the Kemetic woman Hagar, who was the mother of Ishmael and second wife of Abraham. So we know Abraham, he took on also a second wife or another wife after Sarai passed away. So he took on Keturah, spelled with either a K or the Q, who now Keturah, she's either the wife or concubine. We don't know. We just know that, hey, he had 6 sons with her. We know 6 sons. It could have been definitely some daughters also, but we know 6 sons who were of note. And you see those names, Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. So 4 out of 6 of these guys, the sons of Keturah, they're just considered regular Arabs. They just hung around the Arabian Peninsula and created families there, northwest, and mostly in the southwest area, because that's that spot that Abraham set up for his 6 sons to colonize. But 4 out of the 6 stayed in the area. 2 out of the 6, they went to Mesopotamia. So I'll talk about them later on in the Mesopotamia non-Arab sections, but keep that in mind. I think we need more evidence, more evidence. Let's check out this video clip here.
Hello fam, welcome to the African Diaspora News channel. I am Wangil Zalala bringing you this report. Today we're going to be talking about black Yemens. They are outcasts in Yemen. Even if they are Yemenis, even if they have an identification of Yemen, they are treated as if they're not Yemenis, and plus they cannot integrate with the others, with the Arabs. They face racism, discrimination, and they are looked down on. They are living in poor conditions. They can't have a good job, a well-paying job. The only jobs they are allowed to do is clean the streets or collect garbage. And even their children, when they're being sent to school, they are being discriminated against. They are seen less than because of the color of their skin, because they're not Arabs, because they are not white. Just because of that reason, they are not seen as fit for the Arab world. So the Yemen people discriminate against them. In Sana'a, members of the minority group known as Muhamshen, literally means the marginalized, live in dismal conditions in densely populated slums. They count among the poorest of the poor in the Arab world's most impoverished country by more than 5 years of conflict. In the narrow streets of a shanty town in southern Sana'a, lined with makeshift tents and cardboard homes, along with a few simple brick structures, women cook outside on stoves fueled with scraps of rubbish. Hassan told AFP, quote, "It's as if we are not part of Yemeni society, even though we hold Yemeni identification papers. Our children in school are treated differently, and we are looked at sideways on the streets and in markets." So as I said, they don't see them as Yemeni as well, and there's also debate around their origin. Some say they are descendants of African slaves, and some say that they are descendants of Ethiopian soldiers that went to Yemen back in the days. So these people claim that they're not, but there are others that believe that they are Yemenis. So 1, they don't claim them because of the color of their skin. 2, they don't allow them to come live with them or around them. They have to live somewhere separated from the Arabs because they fear them for some unknown reason. They think of them as less than them. They think of them as slaves. So this is the condition that these black Yemenis are living in. A black Yemeni was interviewed for AFP, and her answer is really sad. She said living there is like hell on earth for them. When will this stop? Mistreating people by the color of their skin, or giving them respect because of their color of their skin?
Now, what stood out to me was the 3 scenarios on the origin of these melanated Yemenis. And the first was the tried and true slave narrative. People claim that they descend from African slaves. The second one was that they descend from Ethiopian soldiers who went to Yemen. Now, I don't know, but possibly during the Aksumite-Persian War. Maybe, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong on that. And then the third scenario was that there are people that believe that these melanated Yemeni people are indigenous to Yemen. And that makes sense right there. We know that melanated or swarthy Arabs, they get that constant cold shoulder, it seems. I don't know how it is over there in the Near East area, but I know in the US and the Americas, people separate an Arab from a melanated or swarthy Arab. They would claim that, okay, if you're, melanated, swarthy, African looking Negro, then you converted to Islam, and they say you're an Africanized Arab, or you're an Arab whose origins go back or are on the African continent, as opposed to going back to the Arabian Peninsula. So we're just gonna show some things now. I'm gonna show some proof and evidence that a lot of these Arabs that you see, or the Muslims that you see in Africa, they have origins back to the Arabian Peninsula as the original people. Another thing, the fact always escapes people in the Americas that the whole notion and realization that people migrate, people are uprooted from their original home and they have to migrate and settle into a different area, that fact always escapes people because, in my opinion, they really want to prop up a narrative and go with that. Let's go ahead and go into the evidence. All right, so check out this Joshua Project website here. And as you can see, Shua Arab in what it says Nigeria. But check out the map that is on the right side. They span the countries of Niger, Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad, Central African Republic, and Sudan. So let me go ahead and check out the main languages. As you can see, Arabic and Chadian. The largest religion is Islam at 99.80%. All right, so let's turn our attention to the profile, the introduction/history section. It says the Shua Arabs are commonly referred to as the Bagara. This name is derived from the Arabic word bagar, meaning cow, and refers to the Arab tribes in West Africa who are cattle herders. They are spread from the Lake Chad region eastward to the Nile River in the countries of Sudan, Niger, Chad, Cameroon, Nigeria, and the Central African Republic, as we already said. Okay, let's drop down a little bit. It says that the Bagara tribes are of Arab descent and mainly speak the Shua dialect of the Arabic language. They entered Western Sudan between the 12th and 13th centuries and have gradually moved east and west from there. By the 18th century, they were concentrated primarily to the north and east of Lake Chad. Their tribes continued moving eastward until they became widely scattered across the horizontal plains of West Africa. They have intermarried with the tribes who lived close to them. So I have an image of the map here, and as you can see, the part in green, that's where they span these countries here. And then the little map in the right hand corner says North Central Africa. You can see how close it is to the Arabian Peninsula, and see, all right, you can see that migratory pattern right there. You can see that they spilt out of the Arabian Peninsula into, the mainland, continental Africa. So, I mean, that's a clue to their origins right there. And you need more proof? Well, here we go. All right, I know this is Wikipedia and they can be suspect sometimes because anybody can do anything on there, but let's just find something closer to the truth. All right, so the article on Wikipedia, Bagara Arabs, it says that they also have a common traditional mode of subsistence, nomadic cattle herding, although nowadays many lead a settled existence. So let's go ahead and drop down, and it says the political use of the term Bagara in Sudan is to denote a large group of closely related cattle-owning Arabic-speaking tribes that reside traditionally in the southern parts of Darfur and Kordofan, who mixed extensively with the native population or people they live with in the region. In particular, the Four people, Nuba peoples, and Fula peoples. The bulk of Bagara Arabs live in Chad and Sudan, with a small minority or small minorities in Nigeria, Cameroon, Niger, Central African Republic, and South Sudan. So let's go ahead and check out the origins right here. And I kind of hate when Wikipedia does this, because you could tell this person that wrote this article or edited or included information in it, they're not of this culture. So let's go ahead and see what they say. All right, origins and divisions. Okay, it says, like other Arabic speaking tribes in Sudan and the Sahel, Bagharat tribes claim to have ancestry from the Yuhaina Arab tribe. They are of Arab and Arabized African ancestry. Yuhaina. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next article, an article on the Shua, that is. So now here's an interesting article, a journal's article entitled "The Shua Arabs of Borno, Their Migration and Socioeconomic Roles to the Development of Kanem Borno Empire." And it's written by Dr. Kali Alkali Youssef Ghazali of Yobe State University in Damaturu. All right, so we're going to check out the abstract parts right here. And I'm going to read the first sentence, then I'm going to drop down to the purple highlighted portion. The objective of this article is to trace the history of Shua Arabs of Borno, their movements and migrations into Kanem Borno Empire. All right, so we dropping down right here. All right, the purple highlighted section reads, thus, the Shua Arabs who were originally from the Arabian Peninsula came and settled in Kanem Borno Empire as far back as the 14th century. Okay, so we're going to stop right here. And we're going to resume. Right now, I'm going to do like a quick session, show and prove session. I'm going to show an Arab tribe in Africa and origins back to the Arabian Peninsula. So bear with me, but we're going to make it through probably like in like a minute or two, hopefully. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're starting off with the Abala Arabs. Okay, so you see it says the Abala people are an Arab ethnic group of the Sahel located in Sudan and Chad. Let's go down to this part right here, the second sentence. The term Abala is mostly used in Sudan to distinguish them from the Bagara, a grouping of Arab ethnicities who herd cattle, although the two groupings share a common origin from the Yuhaina tribe of the Arabian Peninsula, and it is a common way to distinguish. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, this is the second time we heard of the Yuhaina, or if you want to anglicize it, Juhaina. So let's go ahead and look into and get some facts on that tribe, the Yuhaina tribe. Okay, before you, here's the Wikipedia article, Yuhaina. The Yuhaina are a nomad tribe of the Arabian Peninsula. I'll stop right there, that's all we need. Now we return to the Wikipedia article on the Yuhaina tribe, and it says the Yuhaina are a nomad tribe of the Arabian Peninsula. They are one of the most powerful Arabian tribes that rule important parts of the Arabian Peninsula. The clan remains prevalent in the Arabian Peninsula, Saudi Arabia, mostly in the region. Okay, now check this out here. Additionally, in Sudan, they are present in large numbers in the eastern region due to the migrations of the Yuhani tribes into Sudan during the 11th century, as attested by Ibn Khaldun. Okay, now let's drop down a little bit. It says, moreover, the Bagara Arabs and the Abala in Darfur and Chad also claim a Yuhani background, though there is some evidence that the Bagara Arabs and Abala are from the Banu Udam and not Yuhaina. So that is a perfect segue to look into these Banu Udam or Judam people. Now, as you can see, the Wikipedia article on the Banu Udam people is up, and it says the Udam was a large Arab tribe that inhabited the southern Levant and northwestern Arabia during the late Antique and early Islamic eras. So the origins of the Udam are not clear. They may have been descendants of the northern Arabs, though the tribe itself claimed Yemenite southern Arab origins. However, this may have been done to draw closer to their Yemenite allies in Syria. Who knows? But that is all we need right now for that. The next tribe that we'll discuss is a branch of the Udam tribe, and it's called the Hawatat tribe or the Huatat tribe. The Wikipedia article is up and it says the Hawatat or Huatat tribe are a large Udami tribe that inhabits areas of present-day southern Jordan, the Sinai Peninsula, and Sharqiya Governorate in Egypt, the Negev, and northwestern Saudi Arabia. The Hawatat have several branches, notably the Ibn Yazi, the Abu Tayyi, the An-Yadat, and the Suleymanayin, in addition to a number of associated tribes. Now, notice that picture, that small picture. Well, that picture is now enlarged. Now, notice the makeup of these people, how they look. They look mixed right now. They all pretty much present-day Arabs, but I mean, you can see the origin or the originality in their faces right there. So that's just something to take note of. Now, in the West, specifically the US in general, we know that people in the US, they think that Arab is a race, a specific particular race of people. But as you can see in that picture, there's a different look to everyone there, but they all have that look of the, I guess, a Negro forefather or ancestor. You know it's in their line there. So that's all I'll say on that. We're going to move on to the next two tribes. So now you see this Wikipedia article on the Banu Amila. And to start off, it says that the Banu Amila, also spelled Amela, were an Arab tribe that inhabited the historic region of Jabal Amel in present-day southern Lebanon. According to tradition, they were originally a South Arabian tribe migrating from the towns of Bardon, Yarim, Yarama, and Yibla in the central highlands and the Raima region in Yemen. So what do we have? What kind of information do we have? Okay, so let's start right here. Accordingly, they initially dwelt in Jordan and Syria, eventually settling the southern highlands and eastern valley of modern Lebanon. All right, what else do we have? Okay, Ephraim Shaid contrasts the traditional view, saying that it is almost certain that the tribe formed a part of the Nabatean Confederacy along with the Udam and Balquain, and that their presence in the region goes back to biblical times. Others have traced the tribe's origin back to Qaidah or even the biblical Amalekites. Hey man, those names are tough, man. I'm not Arabic, I'm not Muslim, so forgive me for that butchering session. All right, we're moving on to the Banu Lakim, and I have that Wikipedia article up, and it says the Banu Lakim was an Arab clan within the Kalan tribe who were the ruling family of the Lakhmid Kingdom, which ruled as the Sasanian Empire's vassal kings in the buffer zone with the nomadic Arab tribes of northern and eastern Arabia. Now, to reconfirm things, that box to your right when it says Banu Lakim, the location part right there, Lower Mesopotamia and 4th through the 7th centuries, southern Syria and Palestine, 4th through the 9th centuries. So, I mean, nobody can say I'm lying. I'm just following the facts here. So, if you come on my channel hate watching, begging me to debate in the comments section, know that it's not gonna happen. You gotta put things together, man. Especially if you have the same sources I have, and just seeing all the proof that I put together in context, not gonna happen. But anyway, that's enough of me talking about that. Now, what do I want to say? I'm gonna go ahead and put that to be continued slide up, and you guys will catch me next week with the 3B presentation on the Arabs. Take care.